everyone, and welcome back to my design studio. I am Kat, owner of Kat's Creations and More, and also Kat's Creations Wreath, and I want to welcome you. Today we're going to be putting together an everyday wreath that is perfect for switching out between all the seasonal wreath changes. And that's an awful lot of doors that need to be covered because there are gaps in between the holidays. And so sometimes just having an everyday wreath is ideal that you can have access to and you can put up in between all of the things. So first of all, I want to welcome you. If this is your first time, I'd love to know where you're joining me from. Also, if you want to save this tutorial, two different things. So I've got both Facebook and YouTube subscribers. So Facebook subscribers, just click the share button. It'll take this tutorial and put it on your personal Facebook page. If you're YouTube, just go ahead and hit the save button. It'll save it into whatever system you have set up for saving your videos on your YouTube account. Also, if you want to be notified whenever there's a new video tutorial so you don't miss out on anything, YouTube subscribers, you're just going to subscribe to the channel and then you'll get notified whenever there's a new video uploaded. Facebook subscribers, it's a little bit more challenging. You're going to want to make sure that you are liking and following the page. So when you go to my Facebook page right now, make sure that you're clicking the follow button and make sure that you go right across from that. There are 3 dots. I'm actually looking to see what does that say. It won't do it for me because I'm the author on the page, but it should open up a little sub menu. So you either have one or 2 options. You either have an option to turn your notifications on, which you want to make sure you do. And that's going to be handy for anyone that you want to be notified when they go live. Or you have to hit the like button. So it just depends on what options are available when you go to those pages in Facebook. I'm going to go ahead and make sure that I can read your comments. Go ahead and swipe. Hi, Cheryl from Ontario, California. Good morning again, Elizabeth. Thanks for joining me. So what do you think we're going to be making today? Where do you think my thought process went for today? I love having everyday wreaths because those sell. Because people are looking for what can I stick up on my door when it's not a holiday. Like right now, we're in between Easter and right before Memorial Day. So sometimes people just gravitate towards their patriotic and throw that up early. Other people would like to have that everyday option. So there is that. Hi, Margaret from Cambridge, Ontario. Also another Canadian viewer, correct? All right, I'm going to go ahead and pivot you down. We're going to go over all the materials, and then we're going to go ahead and get started. So hang tight with me. I want to make sure that you guys can see everything based on what I've been doing on the whole editing process. I want to make sure that you can see everything. Good morning, Francis from South Carolina. So, what do you guys think? This is your little sneak peek. Hi, Jen. Welcome. We're doing something that is black, white, and yellow. And we're using the 14-inch Dollar Tree wreath frame. So I'm going to show you really quick how we're going to finish wiring this one. I've done the other 5 sections for you because we don't need to be doing that multiple times. So in each of the 6 sections, you have 4 rails. The closest one I refer to is rail 1. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our pipe cleaner. We're going to go around the 2 innermost rings right in the center of those welds, okay? And you're just going to wire those together. It gives you greater stability on your pipe cleaner. I was making sure I did this correct because I was looking at, why do I have 2 yellows here? Then what we're going to do is about 3 inches from the pipe cleaner that we have on the outside, we're going to add our black one, this time wiring together the outside too. And I'm just going to check my distancing between these. Sometimes you just have to make a slight adjustment. I find that they'll lay better if we do that. Hi, Cheryl from Florida. Welcome. We're going to do the same on the opposite side. We're going to wire together the two outside. Again, checking my dimensions. These ones were a little closer to like 4. So I'm just double checking these and making sure that I move that appropriately. So that gives us 6 on the inside, 12 on the outside. We are going to be removing the 6 on the inside. So let's go over the materials. I don't think anybody gave me a guess of what they thought, because it could be a multitude of different things. But we are actually doing a welcome lemon wreath. And the reason why I chose lemons is it's a bright and sunny, kind of happy, like yellow makes me feel happy, and it makes me feel alert. So that's kind of where I'm trending with this. And right when I saw this line, I was like, ooh, that would look really good on black, right? So we're going to be taking that and pairing that with a black and white jute deco mesh. Apologize for the light reflection, the overhead lights. So we're going to be doing this as our color combination and kind of allowing the yellow to just kind of pop out in colors, but not so overdone that that's like screaming yellow, like, look at me. So the sign, Margaret, is from Personalize It by Pam. She has her own shop on Etsy, so it's under Personalize It by Pam. And this is a 10-inch round. In addition to that, in our deco mesh, which you can get at Craft Outlet, we are going to be pairing that with a bunch of different ribbons. So let me pull all these colors over. We are doing a 2.5-inch black stripe with gingham edges. This is from Craft Outlet. We are doing sparkly white lemon pieces. This is also by Craft Outlet. We are doing a lemon blossom flower type print. Craft Outlet for the 1.5 inch. The 1.5 inch black stripe with the gingham, kind of like playing to this one a little bit, is from Crinkle Designs. Yellow and white Swiss dot, and that is from Craft Outlet. And then we have these roses, black print, kind of like that. That is also from Craft Outlet. So those are the ribbons. And then I haven't decided yet if we're gonna like incorporate, but I do want to kind of soften all that black up. So I think what we might do is kind of come in with some lemon blossoms and kind of pop that around the design, and pairing that with a yellow ranunculus. So a little bit of like spring to summer transition is kind of where I'm going with that. For those of you that have that farmhouse decor, that black and white, this is going to look gorgeous on that door. Can't wait to see what it's going to look like on my black and white door. But we're ready to go. Do you guys have any questions at all? Okay. Hi, Deanne. I'm sorry, Margaret. She says it's too expensive to ship to Canada. And Jane, hello. Margaret, you might want to talk or check out Unique in the Creek, because they are a company that's based in Canada, and you might be able to get a kit already pre-done for you. So the first thing we're going to do is, in all of those 18-inch or 18 pipe cleaners, we are going to do the ruffle method, which is taking our deco mesh, which we have to cut with the rotary cutter because it is a jute burlap blend. So it's got some natural fibers in here. Those don't like to cut, they like to burn. So we have to do rotary cutter. You're just going to picture an imaginary line right up the center. We are going against the curl, and we are just going to take this finished edge side to the inside. We're just going to plop that right down on the inside. Okay, and we're going to just give that a couple extra twists we're going to remove this, and we're going to tuck the extra piece down. And so these like little raw edges, those are where it's going to have a tendency of wanting to fray. So I like to take those and just kind of gently fold those down so that we are no longer with a raw edge here. And then we are going to do a technique that I call the next one. So wherever you start on your wreath frame, you're just going to go to the next pipe cleaner, which happens to be an outside, what I call right. So I call this center, left outside, right outside. So when I'm referring to that in the sections, you kind of know where it is at. And I'm going to take this, lay this directly on top of that existing piece, give it a couple twists, and then same thing, take those ends, we're going to flip them under, just like that. Take this one and flip them under. And I like to take my pipe cleaners and just move them to the left, just so that they don't get hung up on the next one that I'm going to come in here and do. So this method is known as the ruffle. You can also refer to it as the bow tie, the scrunch, whatever you would like. And I like this method because good coverage for the first. I like having a flat, wide design, so it gives me a lot of options when it comes to how am I going to decorate that. Knowing that I might come in with florals, I want to make sure I have some options available. Now we're going to do our inside center. So I like to use the deco mesh that's closer to the end of the roll, because that's like a tight curl, and when you do it against the curl, it has a tendency of laying flat. Again, it's a center, so we're going to remove our pipe cleaner. Just like that, tuck it down. We need to make sure that this goes under the one that was preceding it. So we're going to pull these apart. Make sure that this fans out so that we have good coverage. And now we're ready to do the outside. I'm going to push these all that way so they stop leaning in on this side. We're going to do the right outside. So there's this. 2 twists. We're going to fan this out. Same thing here. Push it to the left. And what I find too is right in between these sections, there is no center. Rather than put a center in, what I do is take the outside piece right here and I kind of overlap this right here. So what I'm doing right now is kind of overlapping. I have one above and one below, so that when I come in with my next piece and lay that down right over the top, then we are all good to go. Just like this, open this up, 2 twists, and then go ahead and fix this side. Twist those down, twist them under, so that you have great coverage. I'm not going to fluff this one out just yet because we have our center that we need to squeeze in there. Kind of using the edge of my counter to kind of help me with that tight curl that develops when you're getting close to the center of that roll. Lay this down right on the inside. Since this is an inside center, we're going to remove that. Tuck the end back down towards the center. Make sure we get that all underneath the one right before it. And now we can make those adjustments and get everything situated. Same thing with the outside. Now I can go ahead and prep to place the next piece inside. Kind of interested to see how this turns out. I had originally thought to put 2 bows on it, and then I was like, not feeling the 2 bows based on where everything is centered at on the sign. So I chose to lead in with some florals on this design and some lemons, but subtly. Like, I don't want it to be throw a whole bunch of lemons on the design and call that a done wreath. I want it to still have a classic elegance, a simplicity with the monochromatic black and white, and then just elevate the yellow so that it's not like in your face yellow. And right now this could technically work for a bumblebee wreath based on the colors used here, but that's not what we're doing. Let's go ahead and gather. And I'm just gathering about a 1/2 inch as I'm pulling the deco mesh towards me. And I always have people who say, oh, my ruffles never lay as good as yours do. What am I doing wrong? And most of the time, it probably just is you're not positioning your ruffles correctly. So laying them out in this format really helps to make sure we've got good coverage all the way around. So here, I'm going to pull this one back so we can get that last one in that section in. And I pay really close attention to how they're laid on the base. Like, I'm not just throwing them in willy-nilly. I'm making sure that we have a really good ruffle developing. I'm going to go ahead and take that one off. Sometimes those edges are just weird where we have to make a slight adjustment. Now we're on that right side. So I'm going to take so that we have one above and one below. That section, that's right where our ruffle is going to lay in. It'll keep this down on the left side so that we're not fighting that when it comes time to put in bows, embellishments, florals, what have you. 2 twists. Again, fold the edges down. See how you can see the alignment of our pipe cleaners all the way through. This one is now going to be our center. Still taking those and moving them to the side. I think I have 2 more of the little tight rolls. You can see how hard that really wants to roll against itself. Okay. Right on the inside. And we're going to remove the excess. I just cut it right down to the point where we started the twisting. Going to make sure this goes underneath that preceding piece. Making sure we bring all of that down so that we have good coverage underneath that section. Here we are, outside right, 2 twists, fold your ends under and kind of elongate those taking the deco mesh from the center and making sure that that's laying flat underneath that preceding piece. And now we're going to the outside. Want to make sure we got good coverage on the top, good coverage on the bottom of that piece. Hi, Luann. Welcome. I am looking at Deanne Smith says, hi, Mom. Are you just referring to that because we have the same last name? Or is your mom on the group watching this tutorial? Okay, 2 twists, back out. Make sure we've got the alignment between our pipe cleaners going to the side. We've got our inside last one to squish in there. Move that off to the side a bit. There we go. Right down on the inside, you can see that that deco mesh, adding those 6 pieces to the center really fills the center. There we go. Looks like it's not. I can't pull it. I heard it click for the cut, but it wasn't acting like it was cut. Again, making sure we've got 2 more pieces to this outside piece here. And those frays that are just going to develop, those are just going to be normal part of using this jute burlap mesh. You can help, because you can see like right here, there's a little fray. It's just based on the fact we had to rotary cut this. You can spray the entire deco mesh base with a product called E6000 adhesive spray. It's kind of like a watered down glue that kind of helps prevent but generally speaking, when you're designing, you're gonna have it, you know, because we're moving all the mesh, but once we get that done, we should be good to go. Last piece coming in. This will always be the challenge piece because we have to fight the piece before it and the piece after it. So it's right in here. We're going to lay this right down in the center. 2 twists. Go ahead and see, I don't just leave my mesh. Like wherever I put it in, I don't just leave it. I just make sure that it's all prepped for the next piece that's got to come in. So all of those 12 on the outside is where we're going to come in and put in our ribbon combinations. I'm going to lift you guys up just a touch. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and put in our ribbon tails and half bows, and I'll show you the combination we chose. Move this to the side. We are pairing the black stripe with the gingham edge with the lemon blossoms. So 2.5 inches are cut to 14. The 1.5 inches are all cut to 19. Here we have the lemon slices on yellow, and we're pairing that with the roses on black. Strictly based on the fact that we have all this floral going on around the outside, both lemon blossoms and just regular regular flowers. That is the combination we have chosen, or I have chosen. And so we're going to take the 14-inch ribbon, which already has our dovetail cuts on it. fold it in the center so we can find true middle. We're going to gather right at that center line. We're going to place this right in the center of that pipe cleaner. Give it one twist. You're going to put your fingers on the underside of that ribbon and lift it up and out. Now at the 1.5 inches, you're going to bring your dovetailed edges together. You're going to go up about 2 inches from the top and start gathering. So this is what I mean, from here to where I gather, 2 inches. We're going to take that, we're going to lay that right inside that pipe cleaner. We're going to give it a whole bunch of twists. And then we're going to cut the excess off. That little tail, we're going to take that and run that right behind our loop. So now when we open the loop, we have to right side the left portion of our bow, flip that up, and then have that kind of come in between those black 2.5 inch ribbons, just like that. This is what I call a half bow. It kind of fills the gap, because when I first started out, a lot of people were taking their ribbons and they were just doing like a little crisscross. And I always felt like there was something missing, because my eye was always drawn to the center. I'm like, something's missing. And so I created the half bow so that now it kind of finishes the look off. So again, gather up the center. I'm going to move these to the side. We're going to drop this in the center. One twist. See how right now it kind of puckers like a little scoop? We want to take our fingers under and pop it outwards so it's like an arch. Again, 1.5 inch ribbon. You're bringing your dovetailed edges together, going up about 2 inches, gather inside, place that here, and again, a couple twists, cut, take the back, put it behind your loop, go ahead and open your loop, right side the left portion. I always try to get it as close as I can, and then pop those out. And so that creates the look that we're going for, just like that. So we kind of have lemon blossoms with the lemon slices. And so we're just going to do that all the way around the entire design to frame and decorate just this little outside edge. Do you guys have any questions at all that I can answer for you? Oh, thanks, Luann. She said, that's a great technique. I like the look of the loop. Yeah, I called it a half bow because it's kind of like the awareness ribbon. Because I always felt that a bow should have 2 loops. So if it's just a single loop, it would only be a half bow, even though it has 2 tails. And it just finishes that look really nicely. So I'm just going to bring my flowers up to the top. Pull out our next 2 sets. So if you are doing materials, you'll need 6 of each. Combination, and that will get you all the way around the 8 or the 12 pipe cleaners that I already have in here. And that will finish this look. Now you could come back in if you didn't have, say, florals, and you still wanted something to elevate that look a little higher. You could come in with the scatters and fillers, the little styrofoam glittery balls, and you could add black, white, and yellow and go all the way around and alternate those colors all the way around your design. And all I'm doing is opening up my pipe cleaners that I had kind of laid to the side. So it's just easier if they're like in the up and down position, top to bottom, so that when I come in and lay these, it just kind of goes right on the inside. Same thing. And I just chose to alternate the black and yellow pairings so that we had a good blend all the way around, rather than just putting yellow on yellow and the black and white on the black and white. I really wanted to break that up so that it creates a more cohesive look all the way around. And I'll pull my black back on the top. If it's easier for you, you could go in and add all your ribbon tails all the way around and then come back and put in all your half bows. I just find it easier just to finish what I'm working on and then just move on to the next one. Because the least amount that I can play with that deco mesh, the better. It just prohibits the frays from spreading. So I'm putting the 1.5 inch ribbon on the top. And right here, I'm going to prep the next one. I have a feeling I'm using my old pliers. I had a pair that I was actually using out in the garden, and it feels like those might be the ones. They're just not cutting all the way through, even though we're cutting through a lot of pipe cleaner. Fan those out. What do you guys think of the ribbon colors and patterns that I have selected? Do you think that these were a good mix? I'll tuck that back around, open. There you go. Couple more. I think we have 4 left. So do you guys have any plans for Memorial Day? Are you guys going anywhere? Are you having anybody come down and visit? I know that for a lot of people, this is the beginning of summer plans. Oh, thanks, Luann. She's I haven't even decided where I want to put the bow. I'm feeling like it needs to be lower right. That's where I was feeling that. But we'll see. I know that we were supposed to be working on our adding air conditioning to our master bedroom through a mini split system, but now they're calling for rain this weekend, so I don't really think that's going to happen because I don't want people messing with electricity in the rain. So I have a feeling that's going to get pushed out probably indefinitely through the summer, so not sure we're going to see that happen this year. There we go. Flip. And we'll pull our roses to the top as well. And last one going in. So you can see it's created quite a border, left kind of like a star pattern almost in the center of the wreath. So you can obviously tell where we're going to have to fill all of this center area with our sign. And our sign is only a 10-inch round, which is perfect when you're pairing it with a bow and maybe want to add some florals. That'll spin around the back. So you can always see I'm making adjustments to my ribbons so that we have everything showcased out. And it just depends on if you want the lemon to be your predominant, then let your lemon ribbon, you know, both ends of those kind of pair out so that you see those. And now we're going to go ahead and create our bow. So we're going to be using the bow dabra, so you can still see that there's frays happening. We are going to be adding the black and white to the bottom first because I want the lemon blossom to be the top bow that you see predominantly. Oh, nice. Thank you, Susie. She says, I love the master and the ribbon colors you have selected. I love lemons. Me too. They just make me happy. So we are actually going to measure out 10 inches for our tail length. So we're just going to gather here. We're going to twist, and then we're going to place that right inside the bow dabra. Then we're going to take this ribbon up and around, and we're going to kind of guesstimate about 5.5 inches. But then we're going to confirm it by bringing this back over to the 10-inch line so that as I'm standing here and looking at that crease in the top of my bow dabra, when I pull this out, the end of this should hit on that 5.5 inch line. That tells me it's a 5.5 inch loop. Same thing, up and over, just kind of guess with a twist, but then bring it back and confirm that was only like 5.25. There we go. And then we're going to bring this back out 20 inches to the 20. It just means it's a 10-inch tail. We're going to do the dovetail, which is just bring your wired edges together. You're going to cut from the fold down to that wired point. That'll give you a really beautiful dovetail end. And this one is all done. That ribbon choice. And then we're going to take our lemon yellow. We are going to do the same thing. We start off with a clean dovetail end from the fold to the wired point. However far up here you want to come, the destination point's always the same. It's going to be the end of your wired ribbon, but that determines how deep that V will be on your design. And I'm going for 9.5 inches here. For every ribbon we add for the tail length, we're taking it down by 1/2 inch. So we're at 9.5 inches there, and we're going to take down our loop to just 5 inches. So bringing it here, lining it up, I'm right at 5. Doing the other, guess, twist, verify, make sure, just a little bit more. Okay, then I'm going to get this back out, 9.5 inches, dovetail the end. There we go. That one is all done. Oops. Okay, then we are, I'm trying to think of how I had this originally set up. I think it's going to kind of go like this. That's how the layout's going to be. So we're going to bring in our florals. Then we're going to do Swiss dot. Then bring that gingham back up. And then our lemon color. So with that, we are going to start with our rose. Same thing. Process for me is always unchanging. I always start with the dovetail end and I finish with the dovetail. This time we're going 9 inches in. We're twisting, placing that to the inside. I just bring this up and around. And this time we're going for 4.5 inches for our loop length. And we are right there. Same thing, 4.5 inches. Verify your measurement. And then back out to 9 inches. And do the dovetail end. Okay. And the only reason I do that is because I am verifying that both sides of my loops are the same. Both sides of my tails are the same length. So that when I get ready to fluff these, you can see this one's already got a crease in it from being folded weird. When they added it to the spool. Ugh. Okay. Dovetail the end. This one's going to be 8.5 inches. Gather, twist, place on the inside. This one's going to be the exact same. So because we've already measured that rose print, I'm just going to put my fingers in it and pull both so that I have even on both sides. Same thing. Place them in. Still need to get this back to the 10-inch line so that when I go to measure out my tail to get this, what did I say? 8.5 inches is where we're at. Tail length. So 10, 9.5, 9, 8.5, because we're on ribbon number 4. And that's just my bow recipe because I already know what size bow that's going to create. Okay. Now, this ribbon that came from Kringles is interesting because not only do you have the black stripe with the gingham on the edge, if you flip it over, it's just striped ribbon. So it's a dual-sided ribbon. So on this one, the wire is very thin. It's still in there, but it's very thin. So we're starting at 8 inches. And we're going to go 4-inch loops. So I'm always verifying, okay, do I have 4 inches? Up and around. verify. We're at 4. Stretch this back out. Make sure we're at 8. There's that one. This one's done. Okay. And the last one is going to be our lemon blossom on a yellow. This is going to be 7.5 inches is where we finish our loops. Place that on the inside. I'm going to go for 3.5 inches for our loop size. And if you like this recipe, then if you go to my website, which I pinned below at catscreationsandmore.com, you can actually pick up the bow recipe. It's actually cute. It's on a recipe card. So that if you want a bow that's like this, that you can yield for any season, any design, you can just sign up to my mailing list, and then I'll send you the bow recipe with the link for the video that walks you through just how to make a bow. Aw, thanks, Susie. She says you make it look so easy. Hi, Kat. Welcome. From Joan. And she says, been watching my favorite American progs, and I got must be sidetracked. Hello from a very wet Northeast UK in Sutherland. I feel like I need to buy an ark rather than a car. But it won't last. Right? It generally won't last. We're going to take a yellow pipe cleaner. I'm going to bend this into a U shape so that when I go to lift this out, I'm compressing the ends. I'm just going to readjust my hands so that I can drop this right down into the center. I'm going to hold it at the bottom and just twist the stack. Just like so. And then we need to fluff. So again, the dilemma is, Kat, where are you going to put the bow? So this is a 24 inch by 24 inch by 1 inch thick piece of pre-cut lumber that I just covered in a laminate stick, like tile. Not tile, it's just like a press board piece that I guess you put on your flooring tile, but it's not that thick. So I'm just going to slide this right here on my pipe cleaner so that it keeps it from sliding completely off the board. I can still move it, but it also makes for a great presentation when you're making bows and you're selling them. So this is the dilemma that I was talking about. So we could make a bottom facing bow. We could make a top facing bow and just have the tails come out to the side. We could have one here up at the corner, which is really pretty. I like that. Or we can go with a downward facing bow right here. I think I'm doing top corner. So, which means that determines how I'm going to fluff. So if I was doing anything on the top or the bottom, I would definitely fluff differently, like the bottom right or the bottom altogether, but the top, middle, and the top left are going to be the same way. All just depending on the fact that I've got this welcome here. I don't want to cover that. So I have to find a bow placement that I'm comfortable with that would still allow you to see this and tell that it's still a lemon slice. So that's how I'm determining what we're doing. So we are going to start. So this is called top stack. This is bottom stack. Whatever you do up here, you have to mirror oppositely down here. What do I mean? Well, we're starting from the bottom. So I'm going to pull the loop to the left and the tail to the right. go back to the bottom stack, find the loop, and go opposite. So we're moving, so they're directly opposed to each other. So this goes to the right, tail goes to the left, so that we have tails opposite, loops opposite. And now we're going to do the same as we pull down here. This time, we're taking the loop to the right and the tail to the left. See what's happening? It's staggering our colors all the way down. Okay, going back to this stack. If you get confused, whatever you did here, just go opposite. So I'm like, oh, here's my tail. I just match my tail, and then my loop's going to fall in place so that I have alternating loops, alternating tails. Okay. Now remember, you're the designer. You decide the layout. It doesn't mean you have to follow the same pattern all the way down. If I did, all the black and white would be on the same side, and all the yellow and white would be on the same. So from here, I'm just going to take the black and white. I'm going to follow this pattern. So loop one way, tail the other. Go find that on the opposite side and match it with our yellow. So now we have black and white on our yellow. I'm going to go here and I'm like, ooh, okay, so now yellow matches our black and white opposites, right? Go find them here and just go complete opposites. So that here is our tails, here's our loops. Now we've got this one coming down. We don't want to go black and white on top of black and white. We're going to take this one and lay it on top of the yellow. Move the tail over. Go over here and we're going to switch. So we have the tail here, loop here. Okay, and then we're bringing the yellow blossom. It's got that weird fold in it. We're going here and here. Whoop. Trying to get these loops to stay. It's kind of what they're doing. And then this and this. So that here's all my loops, or here's all my tails. The loops are left in the center. This bow is completely flat. So now we're going to fluff and elevate it. So you're going to grab the top two loops and you're going to lift them and put your fingers inside and round out the loops. You don't want to have flat ends, creased ends. So take your time, and we're doing opposites, right? So we've got them going completely opposite of each other. Ignore the tails for now. I know it's hard. Then we're going to grab the next two. Let's go here. Here's this one. I just kind of slide my fingers into them, and I am going to pull the Swiss dot out to the side and allow the florals to kind of pair in the center right there. So I want to do the same thing here. Make sure that goes in. So opposites, opposites. Okay. Then on the very bottom, I want my lemon slice to come in between these two. And then on the outside, I'm going to have this gingham kind of come in between these two. So again, these ones need a lot more fingers in them just to lift and fluff. Okay, and then you're just going to lay out what do you like where. Just move the ribbons around so you get a color palette that you like. You can mix in your tails so that your tails mix in here. There's a reason why I have my tails out to the side. It's because I need to know where they all are at. Now for here, I just want them to arc around the wreath because our wreath is elevated with a slight arch going to the outside. So now I'm just going to pick up my ribbons, run them through my fingers, just like the old curling ribbon, and our fingers are the scissors. When we do that, it puts up a nice little arc in our bow. I'm trying to get this one to be apart. from the other one. Just like that. Same thing over here. You'll start to get really proficient at it, that you'll just do it pretty sufficiently. You don't have to do one at a time. Sometimes you can just do them both at the same time. Again, if you were doing this for sale, you know, just make it look pretty so that you can see all the colors, you can see all the tails, you can see all the loops. Obviously the black and white is at the very bottom, so it's not going to arc down, but you can even leave that one a little flat for photos. And there you have a gorgeous bow. Now what this does do is it yields an 11-inch in diameter bow based on the loops. So from here to here, it's 11 inches in diameter. You could cut all your tails so your tails end where your loops end. That's something entirely up to you. I like kind of having the ability to kind of frame my sign, which is what we're going to do. So I'm going to take this off, put this away, and now we're going to prep our sign. So I get my signs with no holes because I never know if I want them up and down, side to side, this way, but if you get this tool called Beadsmith metal hole punch pliers, these are 1.5 millimeters. They do exactly what you think. They punch holes in metal, 1.5 millimeter. So I am going to punch a hole down here at the bottom. Okay, and I'm going to punch a hole here at the top. Kind of like looking, where did I punch that hole? A little bit right at the C. So then we've got our 2 holes in the bottom of our sign. I add a business card so that our clients know where did I order that wreath from. This way they can see. And I'm going to use, what do you call it? 22 gauge floral wire for my sign. You could use a pipe cleaner. It does fit. So pipe cleaner, just to show you. Let's do it this way so you can see. All that fuzzy stuff on your pipe cleaner, it all folds flat, so we can get that to go. Okay. I am doing the floral wire because burlap meshes, it gets stuck on the dumbest things. Like every little thread, every little imperfection. So sometimes having a pretty strong wire, like the 22 gauge, you can get those at Michael's, Hobby Lobby, Joann's, probably Walmart. Although, if you order them on Amazon, it seems like it's not correct. Because I did try to purchase a 22 gauge spool, and it was really super thin. So I was pretty disappointed. So now when we add our wire, I'm bringing it up to make sure that I'm even, and I'm going to build right over my hole. Because if I don't and I bring my wire out to the side, I have a spinner. I don't want it to spin. I want it to lay flat. So building and twisting right over our hole just kind of gives it about a 1/4 inch base, which keeps our sign slightly elevated. Hides the wire too. Would hide the pipe cleaner as well. Same thing. Going to add that. Make sure we're even. And I always add way more wire than I need to. I'd rather have more than enough than not enough. 3, 4, 5. We are good to go. Our sign is prepped and ready to add to our wreath. So we're going to do that. So bringing our wreath back over, remember those pipe cleaners we pulled off on the inside? We know that they go directly opposite of each other. So that is where I'm going to attach my sign to the center. So I'm going to go right over my pipe cleaner, one high and one low. I'm going to bring this down. I'm going to push it down just slightly because I don't want to take it all the way to the frame. That's what I see a lot of people do, is they'll take it all the way down to the frame, and then what that does is it's like you can almost feel like their wreath is sunk in the center. So again, right over my pipe cleaner, one high, one low, and we're going to pull that down. There we go. Somewhat in the center. Give it a couple twists. Okay, now we're going to put our bow right here. So I want to make sure with my deco mesh that it does not prohibit my bow from laying flat. So I'm going to make sure that all of those furry little ruffles are flat here so that I have what I call a bow home. But on the outside edges, I kind of want to have a nice little fluff going on here. So I'm going to take some of my mesh and just kind of create a nice little framed look to that. I don't want to grab the inside pieces, just the outside ones. Okay, that's inside. Here's our outside. Gonna reposition, do the same thing on the outside. So it just kind of feathers the edge, kind of makes it feel like, so the deco mesh actually had a purpose. Yeah, it frames our sign. Okay, then we're going to, because we know where our loops are, we can now frame that welcome. We can bring it in as much as we want because we still have the wire, the rest of the lemon slice going around, but I like the fact that I can frame that with the 2.5-inch ribbon. So that's what I'm going to do. I gotta get my pipe cleaner situated. So I am going to, again, the same thing with our bow. We don't want to compress our bow all the way down to the frame because we just spent all that time fluffing it. So I'm just going to kind of come in and settle that down. And then I'm just going to one twist it so that I can come in and fix the way I want this to look. So I want all of my ribbon tails to kind of cascade down the side like here. So these are going here, and these ones can kind of cascade up and over the side just like that. Oop, that one got twisted. So see how that deco mesh wants to push everything up? Sometimes you have to just push back. Okay, so that there is kind of where our, I hate that glare, and it's weird. There we go. So that's exactly what we have. So now what we're going to do is around here, we're going to add and break up some of this black and white. And this is where I was saying, I think what I want to do is bring in the lemon slices that we have, along with some florals, and really pull that in. So, and because we already have some green in here, we don't have to be like, ooh, we can't put green in because everything is black and white and yellow. Oh, yes, you can. You can put in a subtle accent. So I'm looking at how are these picks designed. So there is two separate picks. We have an upper and a lower. So I am going to, you guys know me, I'm not about revising my own picks. So I'm going to divide the top from the bottom so that if I want things, for example, to kind of come in here, and I'm just kind of playing with placement, like if I want, it's weird. They're all wired, so we can just manipulate that any which way we want. We can come in and add some slices there. We can also take this one, same thing, pull this down, around, and I'm going to take this one down so that we can have this kind of tuck around the bottom. I might pull this one a little bit further this way, kind of like that. And then we can come in with this yellow ranunculus and just kind of add in here. These are got weird floral stems on the end. We can add in some yellow florals, just tying those pieces together, just like so. Adding one here, definitely probably right in here. So I like the 3, and I kind of like the way that that looks. Maybe just bring this one out in the center a little bit more. So we have a trio of the ranunculus, we have a trio of the lemons, and I think that is how I would like it to be. So now we just need to get it all to stay. Okay, so I'm going to pull these out since I know where they go. And the great thing about deco mesh and florals, or deco mesh and glue, is that they go really well together. So I am taking that end because I don't want to see that end, but I do like the fact that it comes up here and kind of flirts with our bow. So I'm just trying to find the right placement where I want it to be. So probably right about there. I don't want it on my sign, so I kind of like it like this, but I don't think it's going to glue right where I want it to be. So I think I'm going to have to give it an assist with, I'm just going to go through, and I'm going to give it assist with a pipe cleaner. I'm just kind of going in between our florals. And I know where I want it to be because I want it to stay where I put it. Glue, it could stay there, but it has a tendency of moving sometimes while I'm trying to do everything else. So let's add, making sure that this is wired down to the frame. You could even do binding wire so that when I tuck that in, it is now down to the frame. Now this, because it's all wired, I can just bend this to get the movement to be where I want it to be. I need to bend it in an arch. Oops. Just like so. Okay. Same thing here. We've got that big old stem. We need to make sure that that is under our sign. We're going to come in. This is actually going to go right underneath. Right there. Love the placement. Going to do the exact same thing, which is in between the floral. Up and over. I'm just wiring this together. Let's get rid of the little green tag. Okay. There we go. This is now going to go same position. Oop, that's right, we wanted this way. We're making the florals go in the same direction. This has to go under our board, under our sign, just like that. Okay. Again, making sure I'm hitting the frame with both pieces. One upper, one lower. So that, see, sometimes glue is great, but then other times not so great. So I want to make sure I pull those down. Again, making sure we're arcing that in the right direction. Got it laying nice and flush. I'm actually making sure that I have it on both sides, and I didn't, which was interesting because while I'm trying to pull it down, I was trying to get my pipe cleaner over the rail. There we go. When I went to tighten it, it wasn't tightening it. Okay. Again. Right there. Nice and flush. Okay. Of course, I've smashed all of our exterior bows, but those are not a problem. We're going to add in our leaves that popped off. So I'm going to go under, over, so we have a nice little frame. Making sure our lemon stays out, our blossoms are seen. There we go. Not impeding our sign. Okay, just like so. Now we're gonna glue the ranunculus in. So there is our 3 positions. Just like that. Remember, we are coming in here, right? I think we did here, here, and then down here at the bottom. I'm thinking just kind of like that. Just to fill. Does that look? I think they need to be spaced out more. Like this one, definitely here. I think because I moved the positioning of my lemons, I moved them opposite. This one needs to go more over so that we have even positioning. Okay. So this one, we're gluing in. I'm actually just doing this over my silicone mat. Just because when you start up your glue gun for the very first time, it just doesn't want to stay. Oop. I don't want it there. I wanted it up. Little separation there between the lemons. There we go. Here, we're going to plop that right down in between here. Nice, just like so. Just kind of framing all of our leaves. And then the last one is going to kind of go over here a bit. Although I feel like it needs to be here. I don't know why. I'm liking this look better. So I'm going to put it over there. In between, on top of all the greenery. Because I think the other one gets hidden underneath the ties. So we're just going to kind of come in here and add one right inside that, so that now everything makes sense on the whole design. And I'm going to fluff really quick so when we go to put it on the door, we're good to go. Get everything happening where it's supposed to. Getting my frame for my sign in the right place. Okay. So this is a nice classic monochromatic look that we can leave up from summer just before fall. I'm going to tuck that down. I'm actually going to bring this back around to this one so that we have the leaves just kind of flirting with the bow. There we go. Okay. Well, you guys have seen it that way. You guys want to see it on the door? I'm going to go ahead and pivot you up. Hello, all. There we go. I'm going to take this one down. We're going to put this one up so that you can see what it looks like on a gorgeous black door. And then I'm always about fluffing the ribbon because we put in all that gorgeous wired ribbon. I want to make sure we can see everything, that all of our glue threads are gone. Because remember, if you don't take your time to make sure you have a good photo, your photo is what determines if people are going to stop and look to see whether or not they want to purchase that product. So if you're just like, I just wanted to throw up photos just so I could have it up there, it's probably going to show. So take your time because we only get one opportunity to make that first impression. We want that first impression to be really good. And try to get this one to lay. Sometimes we just have to put our curl back in. All right, there you have it. There is a nice, fresh, summery wreath for your front door to switch out in between all the seasons. Is there any questions I can answer for you? Right? Cheryl says beautiful on the black door. Yeah, I agree. We're like contemplating painting our front door black. Just because I like that look. Thank you so much, Cheryl. She says, gorgeous as usual. Frances says, this is so pretty. Cheryl said, I like everything there. It looks perfectly finished. Awesome. Because I definitely felt like if we didn't add the lemons around the exterior mesh with a much smaller sign, then it almost is like that's where your eye is drawn. And so when we're designing wreaths, we always got to go with where do we want the customer's focus to be? Hopefully it's right to the center, that welcome, and then it just kind of cascades out from there. We don't want them to look at some sort of imperfection in our design. We want it to be a nice, cohesive look all the way through. And I think that this achieved that without being like lemon, you know, it's like, it's a subtle lemon, but with a very monochromatic look for every day. So thank you guys for joining me. And that's all I have for you. I hope you have an amazing first start to your summer holiday weekend and that you do something fun, enjoy time with your family. And I will talk to all of you soon. Thanks for joining me and bye for now.